You're coming along.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. It's education and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Everyone, and welcome to the PACE Radio Show. We are live, yes we are, and we are coming to you from lifestyleradio.ca as well as www.420radio.ca. I'm your host, Al Graham. Tonight's show, I am joint hostless. I am by myself. Just me and my guests. And just so you know, I brought a couple of guests, not just one. I have two. So, in fact, there's still three of us going to be here tonight involved in the conversation. So that's still good. And these people here, they help patients constantly, daily, every day. And they've been doing this for many, many years. But before I bring them in, I've got a little bit of news for you. And this is actually, it's sort of something that's coming down the road. I can remember when I was involved with Treating Yourself magazine, that when the Treating Yourself Expo came along, it was something new. It was, it had never really been done before. It attracted so much media and people were asking a lot of questions. And now it seems, that's moved on, but there's been other things that have fallen in behind. Last year we had the Lift Expo. This year, Toronto back at the Convention Center. I'm 99% sure the Lift Expo will be there again. And now this year, I see there is another event that's been added to the Toronto area, and that is a cannabis conference that was announced yesterday. And they mentioned that this conference is called the Cannabis Conference and Expo, and their main keynote speaker will be female rocker Melissa Etheridge. She's Melissa there, as we know from her songs, and she's been dealing with cancer. She's also a cannabis entrepreneur, and back in 2004 that she was diagnosed with the breast cancer. And 12 years later, she's cancer-free and says her battle has been made easier by using cannabis. She has a company called Etheridge Farms, and she was making cannabis products available for California medical patients. She's got balm. She's got, which she says are good for muscles and arthritis. She also has smokables there, edibles, oil cartridges. So she sounds like she's got a lot of stuff covered. She says that she's got 10 years of her medical experience and knowledge and things to bring to the American people in order to focus on health and wellness and how important the plant is to be used for medical use. So that conference will take place on April the 21st to the 23rd at the Sheridan Centre in Toronto. It's a 3-day event, a gathering of patients, physicians, so doctors, LPs, industry people, and they're all going to be there. You see, so basically everything from seed to sale to understanding the regulations and industry standards. So it sounds like Toronto's going to have themselves another large expo, and more education that you can get out there to educate the mass public, the better it is. It's good to see that the city supports these kind of events, and I look forward to hearing all about it, or if I get down to the city, checking it out. So see what happens. All right, now the next thing I want to mention is the free stuff. As you know, we give away free stuff here on the PACE Radio Show, educational information that we like to give to listeners. All you have to do is go to pace-online.ca and write us a message saying that you want some free stuff. And if I get multiple people's names, we'll go into a hat, and I'll pull out the name of the winner. And just so you know, last week's winner was Janice Mazzara. congratulations, Janice. I'm going to be sending you some educational stuff, such as TY DVDs that have interviews and seminars featuring Dr. Robert Melamine and Dr. Dr. William Courtney, plus others. There's some guys get in there on the G notes and stuff, DNA of plants and everything. So it's got some valuable information in it, in them, as well as there could be T-shirts, mugs, pins. Who knows? Maybe all of them. It's just whatever I can get packed into the envelope and send it their way. So, all right. Well, there's the news. Got the reminder in on the free stuff. Oh, I can't remember. Ivan art. There's some Ivan art posters. Those things are awesome. Got some Ivan art posters to give away too. There's those why not posters. You would have saw them in the pages of Treating Yourself when they were being published. So, all right. So let's move on to our guests. So at this time, I'd like to welcome our guests and as well as our sponsors here at the PACE Radio Show, and that's Ross and Deb Middleton of BMA Hydroponics. Welcome, Ross and Deb, to PACE Radio Show.
Thanks, Al.
Hey, Al. How you doing?
Good. Well, I'm getting over my Crohn's flare. I'm still dealing with that a little bit. Now I've got myself a cold, so I probably sound sinusy.
I think I got the same cold. It's just a little pain in the butt, one that you could mistake for allergies, but it's just a nuisance.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping on. Something that just lasts a week or 10 days and it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody left some dirty germ along. I'm picking up. It's gone for a ride for me, and hopefully it's gone soon.
I think it's the money. It's dirty money, and it's
money.
The Canadian. Yeah, the Canadian money made out of plastic now. I think the germs just sit up on top of it, and it used to get absorbed like a blotter in the old stuff.
Yeah, I call that oil. I call it oil money because it's plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's got animal parts in it too. Now I've heard.
Yeah, it does. It's got something to do with cows.
Yeah.
And,
so if you're a vegan, do you use our money?
I don't know.
Only to buy vegan food, I guess.
Yeah, do you use credit card?
I don't know.
There's something wrong with that, isn't there?
That's unethical, isn't it?
Yeah,
So you should.
There's also people that are religious too.
Yeah.
True.
That's true. Is it halal or is it kosher?
Yeah, I don't know. I know.
What if you make a cash donation to like the SPCA or PETA or somebody like that? Doesn't it cancel each other out or something? I don't know.
I don't know. I can tell what Saturday's like around BMA.
Yeah.
Just like this, Al.
All kinds of jokes being thrown. Let's see, you probably have one of your friends that stops by there that always likes to say hi to me too. I'm not going to mention his name. I don't know if I should mention his name or not, but
there's so many of them.
There's so many. Okay. Well, we got that beginning part over. Now, what I want to touch on before we get going was to thank the two of you guys for all your support over the years. You've, if it wasn't for Deb and a ride home one day, who knows what would have happened, because I don't think PACE would have been here.
Yeah, that's right.
I was driving home, and I was bringing Deb home from Toronto along with some other people, and we had some discussion, and that was the beginning.
It was at the crossroads.
Yeah, exactly. So it got things started, and from there it's just grown and bloomed, and you and Ross have been right there along with me all the way along. So I really appreciate appreciate all that.
It's been our pleasure to do everything we can to support you, Al. We think that what you're doing is great, and it's been probably close to a decade now or more that we've known each other, been seeing each other at the store and supporting your show and what you've been doing. I know, like, you go back, I think 2010 was the first TY Expo, and I know you were right there. You had a different organization set up then, and you guys were all volunteers at the TYs. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, I always admired you so much for doing all of that. Like, and you've been, one thing that you've done is you've been at it steady, and you didn't give up even when the chips were down and times got tough. You know, those times when we've all felt where we just want to just give up, and you didn't. And you know, we think that's great, and we're going to continue supporting you for as long as you're doing what you're doing. You're the Stoner Girls Man of the Year. I mean, you know,
I was the last one. That's right. I was the last one. I was. Yeah.
I mean, what more could you ask for?
Well, thank you for your kind words, Ross. We appreciate it. It's and you know, for me, and it's all about getting the information and the education out there, and you know, that's what drives me. I hate it when there's lies and massive lies and lies that can lead to deaths because of, you know, there's, you know, you're looking at the children, you know, with their epilepsy, people who are dealing with cancers, you know, adults, even, you know, like people who are getting a little bit longer in life, dealing with arthritis and other issues. And if they can use a cannabis method in order to, some type of cannabis therapy in order to improve the quality of life, why not? Look what we got going on here in North America with a great big opiate epidemic.
Yeah, that's a big mess there for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, cannabis can make so much difference. And once people learn and understand that, you know, there are other ways of doing things.
Yeah.
That and then there is benefits. So it's I just can't stop giving the word out. Like, I was down there for a while there with that flare up, and it was torture, man.
Yeah.
So
I'll bet it was.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, let's move on from that to a little bit of information about BMA Hydroponics. I don't know whether you both want to be involved in this, or you want to just go and take turns.
Well, I think Deb's going to handle the BMA part.
Yeah. Well, this is it's that time of year again too. So everybody who's and new license holders, things like that, with the program that's opened up, it's now time where, you know, we're getting all of our propagation equipment in for lights, and seed stocks are being, you know, leveled up so that everybody can pick what their favorite strains are to get ready to grow, whether it be a new garden indoors or get ready for their outdoor time.
Yeah.
But it's busy, and we're also, Ross will talk to you more about that, but we've had some exciting news where we've got another way that we can help patients through our nonprofit CTCP coming towards the end of the month, and we're redoing remodeling in the store right now to accommodate that when it happens.
Okay.
and
we'll get into, we're going to get into some depth into that too as we go along here. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
But I'm sort of looking at what's a bit of history, the beginning of BMA Hydroponics.
The beginning of BMA Hydroponics.
What got you started in all this?
Yeah, well, we just have our. We've been in business since 2002, so we're just had our 14th anniversary.
We're in the 15th year, yeah.
Yeah, we're starting into our 15th year now. And when we started, it was something that Ross and I always wanted to do. I was always big into gardening and bonsai, and I never really wanted to go into a hydroponics store before because you always were afraid to ask anything, and you never knew if what you were being told was the truth.
Yeah. I got people. I know people who won't even go in the store because they're worried that they're being watched.
Yeah, that's true. So, and it's, you know, or you park, you know, like a half a block away before you would go into the store.
Yeah, that's true.
So when we decided, when we moved to the area, we decided we wanted to do something that we were passionate about and we really loved. And one of those things was having a hydroponics store and being able to teach people how to grow not only their own medicine, but their own food as well, and to do it in a very sustainable and economic way. So that has blossomed over the years, and with some of us having health problems that have developed, we've leaned a little more towards the medicinal side of it.
Because I remember when I first started coming to you guys, you were more on the home grower, the guy with the orchids and the tomatoes. And
That's right. And we still do have quite a thriving sprout following.
Good.
For people that, produce their own sprouts, and you'd be surprised how many people are actually throwing a pepper or a tomato plant in with some of their regular gardens in the vegetative state, just to get a little extra.
Well, why not?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And if you want to keep a beneficial population of anything as a preventative at any time, when they don't have anything that's bad to munch on, a lot of them will eat pollen. So they'll actually help pollinate your plants for you, and it gives them something to be sustained on. And you are just keeping around a little preventative predator, so that you don't have to worry about anything in case it might infiltrate into your garden too.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to you mentioned you fool around with different plants and stuff, shrubs and stuff. So have you got some horticultural training or experience or anything like that? Or is this just all sort of self-taught and learned over the years?
Yeah, most of it is self-taught, learned over the years. I've studied and worked with, when we're talking about trees, with bonsai masters.
Yeah.
With quite a few of them over the years. And also I was a member of the garden club in various areas where I lived, and I was on the boards and executives, and we helped redo the Bio Rail station, and I know a lot of master gardeners, so I've absorbed a lot through the years.
So if you're looking after stuff like that, looking after, as some people call it, a weed, it shouldn't be a problem.
No, but it does, it's not so simple as everybody may be led to believe, where, you just go throw a seed out there, and you come back 3 months later and you have this, wonderful medicine. It's not quite that way anymore. And now that things are becoming more and more hybridized, they do take a little more care and a little more thought into what you're doing, as opposed to just some of the earlier or landrace strains that some of us were used to in the 70s, the Colombians and things like that. If you happen to be lucky enough to live in a temperate climate where you could grow them outside, they were a lot more forgiving.
They were, weren't they? Yeah. Sometimes we need that extra forgiveness.
Yes, that's right.
Now I know. Do you find that, I through grassroots and stuff and advocacy work, I will visit a few different stores, hydroponic stores in my travels. Do you find that the hydroponic stores are now sort of more focused on cannabis versus the home plants, like as far as the tomatoes and the orchids and stuff?
They are. It used to be that was really probably an unwritten, I'd have to say 70% of your business anyway. It's just where that 70% of your business is really now turning more to 90% legitimate. Through medical or designated growers for medical people, that type of thing, than it was before. Before it was more guerrilla growing.
Yeah.
And, people who were doing it more for themselves. But it's become more open. There was a time when you could walk into some hydroponic stores and you just didn't even mention the word.
Yeah.
You didn't even allude to the fact that that's what you were talking about. But now it is changing. It's more open. And if you walked into my store and you started talking about tomatoes, I'm going to talk tomatoes back to you.
Right.
So be honest with me.
Correct.
Or lot of times what I'll say to people, if they're reluctant to come right out, I'll just ask them if it's a 12-hour photo period, and if it is, there's probably half a dozen plants that require a 12-hour photo period to bloom, so you're pretty assured then that that's what they're talking about.
What are the other ones? Just out of curiosity, in case someone wants to add them to their
Napa
garden.
cabbage is one. In order to trigger a poinsettia to bloom, you put it in the dark. And those are so there's cannabis, Napa cabbage, there's poinsettias, even Christmas cactus. If you put them in the dark, it's a little longer than 12 hours with a Christmas cactus, but still it requires a dark photo period in order for it to trigger it to flower.
Now get it well on its way.
Yeah. So there's not a lot that, people are going to have mass amounts of. Unless you're starting a poinsettia farm or you're growing a lot of Napa cabbage in your house. It's just usually not happening. So
Yeah. Now, you mentioned, we were talking with Ross there, and you mentioned as well, the ACMPR. Now, the businesses, as you mentioned, they seem to be, must have become legal or more legitimate. More of the cannabis people came out in the open, and your percentage of people using it for the cannabis reasons would have increased. Now, when, with the MMPR, they were looking at 40,000 people that were growing. Right. And then all of a sudden they, when MMPR tried to pull our rights to grow, was that something that was, devastating to the industry?
It was. We lost distributors throughout Canada and British Columbia, some in the mid part of the country. A lot of stores went out of business that didn't have, maybe some of the time behind them that we did. In anyone who had just started up, was terribly difficult for them. We went through a 2 to 3 year really downtime, and the industry knew it, but it was something that was never really talked about a lot. But it did a lot of weeding out, and we even had some suppliers that actually started to change what they were supplying, and some of them started carrying brewing equipment as well as hydroponics supplies, and they were a North American wide supplier of hydroponic goods before that, but started actually taking in brewing to help augment their sales, because everything went so flat there right after the MMPR was announced. And even after the injunction came into play, there were a lot of people who missed out due to misinformation, or where Health Canada, they'd sent in their forms, but Health Canada said, oh, no, you might as well just forget it. We're not renewing this. So they missed the deadlines. And also we had some signing issues in our area with not being able to find doctors in that short period of time that would allow them to. So, it was extremely difficult. Yeah.
The now with the ACMPR coming back. I know there's still people having problems with doctors and stuff, but hopefully more people are being able to grow, and that'll be better for the whole industry as a whole, like everybody.
Yes, that's right. And it's along with what you do as far as education goes, and we're educating people all the time as well about how beneficial it is, as opposed to buying from a licensed producer where you're not really sure what you're getting. You have to go by what they tell you, and even Health Canada doesn't require them to be on any kind of standard testing amongst them all. There's too many tests that they can use that really don't put forth the real picture of what they're producing and what they're supplying.
Yeah.
So when you do it yourself, you know what you're getting. And plus, where the nutrient industry has started to gear more towards people who are medical and who want to be organically growing and not using a lot of synthetics. But with hydroponic fertilizers, a lot of the good ones, as opposed to, say, a Miracle Grow, you've got better than food grade, pharmaceutical grade nutrients in a lot of them, as opposed to, say, an agricultural grade that a farmer would use.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Oh, Miracle Grow. Ooh. but Ross, do you find like your Saturdays, now that people are more, able to grow and stuff, you're getting people that are that are, I can finally grow my cannabis legally and don't have to worry about Johnny down the street.
Yes, for sure. My Saturdays are filled with nothing but talk about cannabis and growing cannabis and how to do it, what's the best way. Pretty much spend all my time every Saturday doing nothing but helping people learn how to grow it the best way and how to get the best yield and what strains to choose and all of those things. It's a dream job. It's like Deb said when she started, that this is something that we've always wanted to do. And we have our dream job now. And now that we do have the ACMPR, we can already see stuff bouncing back, right, Deb?
Yes, we can. And we carry all the paperwork. So word of mouth is getting out where I will have people come in and say, so-and-so told me I needed to come talk to you rather than go to over here to this clinic where they're giving me forms for one of the LPs. So we're helping a lot of people by, giving them the tools to actually go and talk with their doctor. And I can't stress how wonderful the TY magazines are for that purpose.
Oh, yes.
When you're talking about the endocannabinoid system, and giving a magazine to someone to give to their doctor, that they can actually read something, that's not hearsay or anecdotal.
And the resource information is there too. If the doctor or whoever wants to check back on stuff, eh?
Yeah, that's right. I know I find them invaluable, and I actually need to get more from you, but I find that
okay, I'll get you some more.
Yeah, but I give them out a lot to people, and they're so thankful. They really are. But we do help people with paperwork all the time, and we don't charge for it because that's not what we're in it for. We're in it to try and, get as many people producing their own safe, healthy medicine as possible.
Well, we're going to go for break in a few minutes here. When we come back from break, I'll bring Ross into the conversation. And we'll discuss some of the signing stuff and things like that as well. Now, I guess, let's see. Where am I? I had another question here. Of course, I lose it. Do you look at your business as being like some businesses are business driven? Some businesses, they aren't. You look at yours as something that's business driven or one that's driven by patients?
To a certain degree, you have to be business driven just so that we can survive.
Sure.
But
bills have to be paid.
Yeah, but we're very patient driven.
Yeah.
And we try and anticipate what may help the most in the community or our patients, and we strive to try and obtain that for them.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like when I've been in there in the store, and I see some people come in, and they may think that it's a stupid question, but no question is stupid, is it?
No, it's we encourage questions, and I'll have somebody has said to me, gee, I'll bet you've heard that a million times. I say, you know what, that's fine, and the conversation that I might have with one person will be far different in 6 months to a year from when we very first start out. And it's really gratifying to see how you can help somebody along the whole way, and and they'll bring you pictures, and you can just tell how happy they are with the success they've had.
And they're happy, and because they're so happy, you're happy. I always go back to that Grinch at Christmas there, and how his heart grew 10 times the size.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there's days where we're extremely busy and we hardly make a sale, but that's not the most important thing that day. The most important thing is the information that we've given out to people that day. Yeah, that's true. Yep. Alrighty, guys. It's break time. Time for a commercial. It's that time, bottom of the hour. Time to pay some bills. You might recognize an ad in here.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right. All right. Tonight, our bumper music is from Rick Reimer and his song "The Kill Little Rasta Man." When we return, I'll be talking with Ross, and we've been talking with Deb so far. And they're the owners of BMA Hydroponics. They're also one of our sponsors here at the PACE Radio Show. And we are live on lifestyleradio.ca. See you in a few minutes.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Story about a guy named Bob. A proud Rasta man didn't want to steal the rod, but he had to feed his family. Things were getting hard, so he plants a little ganja.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponics system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMPR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it.
The National Task Force on Medicinal Cannabis is a group of not-for-profit organizations dedicated to influencing government policy with factual evidence. Our mission is to ensure that a constitutional medical program is developed that will address the concerns of all Canadians that require therapeutic cannabis. The task force is looking for dedicated people who are willing to contribute to our cause. We have formed this task force to foster a unified approach and focus on lobbying the federal government and Health Canada. We represent the combined expertise of thousands of patients with more than a decade of experience. As a task force participant, you, your business, or your group will have an opportunity to show that you care and offer your unique skills to promote the cause. If you would like to get involved, go to medcanataskforce.org. That's medcanataskforce.org and use the Contact Us link to get started. Help us help you.
Tune into the PACE Radio Show and catch Kim Cooper, Debbie Stoll-Skiffen, or Alison Merlin, along with myself, Al Graham, as we talk to Canadian and international cannabis advocates who are working hard to help patients and to end cannabis prohibition. Catch us live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here at lifestyleradio.ca.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Thing you know, those plants are getting tall. The neighbors come and sus and look over the wall. They said, "Hey Bob, growing ganja you can't do." He loaded up his seeds and he moved to Killaloo.
Hello everybody and welcome back. This is the PACE Radio Show and we are at lifestyleradio.ca, and you can also find us at Spreaker as well as at Mixcloud. Don't forget to tune in this Friday and every Friday for Al, Marcel, and the rest of the 420 crew, including Ross, here at the lifestyleradio.ca. Tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. for 2 hours of information and sometimes crazy talk, as well as some great music and guests. Tonight on the PACE Radio Show, as I said earlier, I am joint hostless, but even though I'm jointless, I've still got my bong beside me. So I'm not completely alone. And I am here with Deb and Ross Middleton. They're the owners of BMA Hydroponics, and they are also one of the sponsors here at the PACE Radio Show. Before the break, I was spending some time talking to Deb about the history and that of BMA Hydroponics, and now I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking to Ross. How's Ross?
I'm doing just great, Al. I've been a very busy guy lately.
You have been, haven't you? You've been doing lots, you know? And it looks like it's all coming to fruition.
It is fruition, and it is, yes. And it's been a tough road to hoe. I mean, the last time you guys had us, you had Deb and I on the show about a year ago, I think, and we talked about the restructuring of the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society and all of that stuff. So we've done a lot of stuff in the last year. I mean, so much has happened in the last year when it comes to medicinal cannabis in Canada. And and it didn't, you know, I mean, it was all based on the court decision, but it didn't all happen, you know, just because of that. I think there's a demand for home production of cannabis, and the Allard hearing and ruling basically just reaffirmed that it was a violation of our Section 7 charter rights. So basically, with the restructuring, about a year ago of the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners, we were focused on lobbying the government to get a decent medical program put back into place. Even before the ruling was made by Justice Phelan in the Allard hearing, we were already focused on lobbying Health Canada and the newly formed Liberal government, Jane Philpott. And we also, because we are the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society, partnerships are what we focus on. And so we try to partner with other entities within the medicinal cannabis community. And we basically got together with 3 other nonprofit organizations, Maritimers Unite for Medical Marijuana Society out in the Maritimes, and the Medicinal Cannabis Patients Alliance here in Ontario, and also the Haley Rose Foundation out in British Columbia. And I don't know if anybody knows who Haley Rose is, but Haley's a young lady with epilepsy whose mother was treating her with high CBD oil and controlling her seizures pretty darn successfully. Haley's now a young lady, and the doctors said that she probably wouldn't ever be one. So cannabis has been a huge thing for them.
You can hear Haley during one of the station identifications by Lifestyle Radio.
Yes, you can. And cannabis has saved the lives and made lives better for so many people. It's just countless numbers of people, and you really don't hear about those. All you hear about is all the, won't somebody think of the children stuff. But, the children are some of the ones who need it. And like to all this fear mongering stuff is really just been getting in the way. Fortunately, I think as far as medicinal goes, a lot of that stigma is starting to drop. But anyway, we got together with those organizations. We formed something called the National Task Force on Medicinal Cannabis, which was basically an alliance of the four. We got together and had many discussions with a lot of people. We talked to a lot of our members. We talked amongst ourselves. The board members of all the societies basically hammered out a proposal to submit to Health Canada, which we were asked to submit by Jane Philpott. Of course, I had to pester the hell out of her to get her to finally submit and say, okay, please submit something.
Yeah, that's expected.
But yeah, so it took a lot of pushing, and like that they really didn't. I think they were really resistant to taking any consultation, and as far as I know, we were the only group of nonprofits that weren't making millions of dollars a year that had any say in the new Health Canada regulations. The proposal that we submitted, the consultation document, we probably got about 70% of what we asked for, and in some areas we got more than what we asked for. I mean, I've got to admit, when Justice Phelan finally did rule in favor of us, and that was when we formed the task force, and we really started to lobby the government. We submitted our document on June 9th, and of course they announced on June 24th the ACMPR, the Access to Cannabis for Medical Purposes regulations, and to my amazement, they were virtually identical to the old MMAR. I mean, very, very similar.
Yeah.
I was pleased. I hope, I know a lot of people weren't, everybody wants it to just be, free the weed and, all of that stuff. But I was just happy to see a medical program for home production put back into place, because being limited to accessing just licensed producers who are charging anywhere from, $6 to $20 a gram, depending on who you're buying from and what you're buying. When it's sick people who are mostly on disability or on limited incomes, or they can't afford that kind of stuff. You can't.
No, exactly.
When you can grow your own and do it indoors for 60 or 70 cents a gram, and do it outdoors for 15 or 20 cents a gram, why would you want to pay that kind of money to get unknown medicine from a licensed producer who are allowed to use pesticides, they're allowed to use fungicides, they have bug problems that they don't want to talk about. I happen to know that spidermite infestations, thrip infestations, and all kinds of those kinds of things run rampant within these licensed producers, but they won't talk to you about that.
I was surprised to see an organic grower have a recall on a chemical pesticide.
Yeah, and that's something though that, the word organic, it's kind of like it's become a bit more of a marketing tool, I think, than any kind of thing based in any reality.
Yeah. Okay. Let's focus this back towards the CTCP from the growers, the LPs there. Now, right. You've got this letter. You've done this. You did this for. The task force as well, right? You wrote a letter to them, all that stuff.
I did, yes. When they put the consultation website up, and I submitted probably about 2,500 word proposal through that consultation page as the nonprofit, because you could submit as an individual or as an organization, and I submitted as an organization 2,500 words there. Which was lots of fun doing. One thing I like to do though is write, and it's something that I take a lot of pride in doing.
Well, yeah, and I know that we appreciate people who do write in, because that's a voice.
It is.
Someone's reading it somewhere.
Yes, and I know that we sent hard copies. I know a copy was landed on Justin Trudeau's desk among other people. So I'm sure he at least thumbed through it. I hope. If you're listening, Justin, please phone in and tell us you thumbed through it.
Is that the phone I hear ringing?
Well, actually, tomorrow night he's in Belleville. He could very well be in Belleville right now. Well, he's supposed to be at the Empire Theatre tomorrow.
I know there's a group of cannabis advocates from Peterborough, because Justin is also going to Peterborough in this stop. He's going to be at the Everroot Center, and there's a group of guys who are gathering there in order to be able to have their opinions heard. So a shout out there to Wayne and yeah, I know I forgot his name.
Well, Wayne's another cannabis.
Ivan.
Yeah, it's cannabis warriors like that are going to make a difference in the end.
Yeah.
And we've won some battles, but there's so many more to fight, right? And
yeah, exactly.
It takes.
His name is.
Sorry, go ahead.
His name is Eamon. Eamon and Wayne.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are organizing this.
Yeah, and hopefully they do it in a respectful manner, and I know they will, and that's the best way to get your voice heard is to be polite but be forceful. Don't be rude and don't be belligerent or anything like that, and they will listen. They might not take action right away, or they'll give you that standard spiel about protecting the children and ending organized crime and all that.
That's what I expect will be the children protection and organized crime.
Yeah, that's
but I believe it. I believe they may be going at them about dispensaries and stuff like that as well. So.
Well, well, if we get back to the nonprofit, one thing we do support the legalization of cannabis. I mean, that's for sure, and we support everybody who's fighting that battle, and we support dispensaries and compassion clubs and all of that. But our fight is more focused on medicinal cannabis, and after winning, I consider it a win in getting back the ACMPR. We kind of achieved our immediate goal of lobbying government for a better medical program. So we got that, and we kind of thought, well, what do we do now? And one of the things that we fought for and really asked for in that document was to remove the doctor gateway issue, because it's always been a problem. It was a problem back in the MMPR. I mean, we had
15 years of problems.
Yeah, we and then a guy like Dr. Rob Camerman, who was just an awesome person. I mean, you couldn't ask for a nicer guy. He had the best intentions. He wanted to help people, and he did. He helped so many people get their permit to grow, and they did nothing but crucify the poor guy. And it was just a shame to see that happen. But that's typical. And now that we have the new program, it's still typical. It's something like 95% of doctors will not prescribe cannabis right now.
Oh.
So
is that right?
So how do you get access? I mean, all we wanted was a single form, and this was one thing we did get was a single form. We sent in a form that was called a confirmation of diagnosis. We wanted to simplify it so that you could take this form in and just say to the doctor, here, tell them what I've got and sign that I have this condition, and then you use that to go in. And then the doctor doesn't have to feel like they're prescribing cannabis. They're just confirming that you've been diagnosed with something.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Now, as it turned out, that particular form that we submitted as part of the proposal looks so much like the one-page document, the medical document that they now use. It was uncanny. So
it is nice to see how much smaller the ACMP paperwork is compared to the old MMPR paperwork.
Yeah. And it's so much simpler, so much easier. The only hard part is getting a doctor to put a signature on it.
Correct. And talking about doctors and signatures and stuff like that, that's something else that CTCP has expanded into, is it not?
It is. We've basically changed our focus now to access. So now we have the program. We feel like we've won there. We're now going to move on to try to get people access to that program. We didn't want doctors to be the gatekeeper. We wanted it to be simpler so that they didn't have to feel, like they were prescribing a illicit drug, or something like that. But that didn't happen. We were dealt a hand. The hand was that 95% aren't signing. And there's so many people. Every day, I know Deb can back me up on this. Every day people come in and they're saying, I got to find a doctor. I can't get my doctor to sign. My doctor threw me out of his office. He yelled at me. My doctor won't talk to me. They turned their back on me. And it's heart-wrenching to hear this over and over. And so we just wanted to help people get access to doctors. I did everything. I actually reached out to some of the clinics. I talked to the CEOs of 2 separate clinics that are currently nationwide and negotiated with them to try to get them to consider signing for home production. And some of them ended up in heated discussions where it came down to who owns the medical document. Does the doctor own the medical document, or does the patient own the medical document? Because basically what the clinics are doing is they're getting the doctor to sign the medical document, but they won't give you the original. They send a copy to an LP. So without the original document, you can't apply to Health Canada. Health Canada only takes the original medical document. So who owns that document? In the opinion of the clinics, the doctor owns that document. In the opinion of us, of the CTCP Society, the patient owns that, and I think we're right.
I look at that as a medical document that would go in the records of the patient, which would be then become part of the medical records, which they should technically have access to.
Right. And you know, the ACMPR wasn't set up for doctors. It was set up for patients. And therefore, any documentation involved in applying to Health Canada, that document belongs to the patient. I'm sorry. And I hope, there's somebody at least that is with a clinic or has been to a clinic and experienced this, that understands that what they're doing is wrong. Okay, it really is. So how do we fix that? We don't like it, but the only way to do it is to be a clinic too. Okay?
Nice.
If they can be a clinic and they can have doctors and they can have, Skype doctors who get you signed up with licensed producers, then my thought became, well, why can't we do that? Why can't we be a clinic and find doctors who will sign and basically get you set up so that you can Skype a doctor that'll sign for home growing? And after a lot of searching and a lot of working, and trust me, it was a lot because it's really hard to get doctors who will sign. I negotiated with one in Toronto for quite some time, and he was very, very strict in what he was asking for, and it was becoming more and more difficult all the time, and it was getting very discouraging until I found a particular organization out in British Columbia who has a number of doctors on staff who will sign. And so I called them and I said, hey, how's it going? Introduced us, said who we were, what we do, how we do it, and said, what kind of a deal can we work up? We got people who need to get signed. You've got doctors. What can we do? Mm-hmm. So we hammered out an agreement, and so now we have basically open to us a doctor dedicated who's willing to basically work with us every Monday if we want to. We can sign as many people as we want, and there is a cost associated with doing that, unfortunately. I mean, if you're like me and you're one of the lucky ones who has a doctor that'll sign, like my specialist signed for me, and I don't even think he charged OHIP, let alone me.
Right.
But, but he's one of those one percenters, like there's the 1%ers who do it just because it's the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the 4% that do it for money, right? And the 95 and the 95 who won't. So basically, we're working with that 4% who'll do it for money. So you start saying, well, okay, how much money? Well, clinics charge you money too, and then they just send you to an LP who overcharges you.
Yeah.
Right. So there is a fee, but our doctor will sign for up to 10 grams. The fee is $300, which we tried to keep it as reasonable as possible. But we are going through a middleman. We're not marking it up hardly at all. We're barely covering our costs. BMA Hydroponics is basically donating the space for the office.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying for the renovations that are taking place. That's going to be just like a doctor's office. When you walk in there's going to be a desk and a Skyping computer, and it's going to be a nice, comfortable place, private place with a door that closes where you can sit and talk about your condition. We are also offering, on top of that, a bunch of other, let me see, here's just a little bit of a list of some of the other things. So basically, we're offering the physician consultations. We're going to help people. We have three directors of the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society that are coming in and on staff at BMA and working for the CTCP Society. Linda Houghton, who is our events director, who's a really awesome person, who is and of course everybody at BMA is licensed medicinally or has medicinal issues that they're dealing with. So we can really understand. So we can offer counseling as far as what condition you have. We can recommend strains that are best for your condition.
Yeah.
We can help you understand the best ways to consume medicinal cannabis, because, consuming medicinal cannabis isn't about sitting back and smoking a fatty. Okay. You may do that. Okay. You know, and I do. Once in a while I'll sit back and I'll smoke a joint, but that's probably just a small portion of the way that I consume cannabis. If I use topical creams now that have made a huge difference in my life. With neuropathic pain, I was on opiates for 10 years, and the dose just kept going up and up and up and up and up, and it never worked, and it never worked, and it never worked. And finally, I just said, to hell with this. This is ridiculous, and I quit using opiates in favor of just using cannabis exclusively. And when Deb and a couple of her friends formed an organization called DLA Topicals and started making the Ananda pain creams and the Ganji pain sticks, and I think they're working on a lotion right now, which I'm not sure what the name is right now, but when I started using those creams, I got more relief for my neuropathic pain than I ever got from any prescription drug ever prescribed by a doctor, and I had dozens of them literally thrown at me. It was like they were just throwing pharmaceuticals against the wall to see what would stick,
Wow.
And nothing ever.
We got about 5 minutes till we go to the break.
Okay.
Back to your clinic here.
Yep.
The information that the patient will need. Do they have to submit any medical records, letter diagnosis? What's that process entail?
Yeah, you would need to get some sort of a document, whether it's a test result or a report back from a specialist or a letter from your doctor confirming a diagnosis, something to back up from a doctor that you've already seen that says, yes, you have this specific condition. You're probably also going to need a printout of any prescription medications that you might be on. Beyond that, there are 5 different documents that you need to fill out. They're evaluation documents that basically is an overall assessment of your health, of your particular health issue. And then all of that is sent in a package to the doctor, who opens it up in his office. So he's basically got all of his information in front of him when he starts to talk to you through Skype. He already knows basically what your issues are. He's going to ask you a few questions, talk to you about how you are consuming it, and then depending on what your condition is, how you're consuming it, you can be prescribed anywhere from 3 to 10 grams per day, which would get you anywhere from 15 to 50 plants.
So the person fills out this paperwork. I'm assuming they would get the paperwork from the store, or is there a website?
Yes. Right now, it's kind of a bricks and mortar thing. So you've got to come to us, and we will sit down, and we will, first of all, we will help you fill out those forms. We will set up a date, what time, when we'll basically give you an appointment, so that that's when you come in to do your Skype thing. So you bring in your medical records, your printout from your pharmacy, you fill out those forms, and then we give you a date, and then you basically come back on that date. Our first clinic is going to be on January 23rd. That's a week from Monday. and we're going to be doing 10. We're going to start off by doing 10 people, and every time we get 10 people together, we can do another Monday. So if we can do 10 people every Monday, we'll be doing 40 people a month.
Nice. That would be really helpful.
Yep.
Very, very helpful. Okay, and then just to clarify so everybody knows, this is to allow people to grow. But if they want to go to an LP, I imagine they could go to an LP as well. But
yes.
This is a doctor that will sign to grow, so, which is very key. Okay, 2 quick questions before we leave here for break. Okay, now some clinics make you go back every 3 months. Is there anything like that with this?
No. One thing that we made sure was that, number one, the doctor understood that most of the people that we're sending their way are looking for personal production. That means that they have to get the original document, and that's confirmed. They will be getting the original document. They'll be sent to us in a package all at once, and this helps the efficiency of it, where he can send us 10 signed original documents, and people come back in and pick that up, and then they attach that to their Now, if they want to use a copy of that document to access a licensed producer, they can do that. Licensed producers will take copies.
Oh, really? But you're not allowed to have one source.
But you can't apply for personal production with a copy.
Right, exactly.
However, but you can access both Section 1 and Section 2 of the ACMPR at the same time. There's no rules against Section 1 being the LPs, Section 2 being personal production.
You're not allowed one source.
Yeah, you can do both with the one document.
Yeah, but you're only allowed one source. You're not allowed to get cannabis from an LP and grow your own at the same time.
No, you are. Yeah. Yes, you are. Absolutely.
That's news to me.
Yeah. It actually said that. It actually asked you on the application document, are you going to require an interim source from an LP?
Yeah, that's for the first 4 months while your first garden grows.
Right.
That's what that's for. That's the only time that's for. That's not for 6 months later or a year down the road. That's only for those first 4 months. Same way it was with the MMPR was run the same way.
Yeah. I'm going to have to call Nicola and ask her about that.
Yeah,
I'm on a first name basis with the Health Canada person. So, because I'm pretty sure you can do both. And basically, if you send the original document to Health Canada to apply to grow, and you keep copies for yourself, and you send one to an LP, I don't think there's any cross-referencing that goes on anyway. You know what I mean?
There isn't, other than numbers. The LPs have to give Health Canada the numbers. But as far as I know, they don't have to do the names. Right. Now, last question I have for you on this subject before we go to break is there a P test required? That is often asked of me. Do you have to do a P test?
Yeah, the doctor I had been talking to in Toronto wanted a P test. It wasn't as a gotcha thing, unless your P tested negative for cannabis. Okay, that might be a problem.
Well, yeah.
Because, if you're not using cannabis, why do you want to grow it?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So at your signing clinic, is a patient going to require to do a P test?
No, they would have been under that previous doctor, but they will not be required to do that with this new doctor that we have now.
Super. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, we should go to break before we run out of time here. And then when we come back after the break, we'll bring Deb back in the conversation. We'll have both of you to talk about something that is new around BMA Hydroponics, and then we'll go from there. So let's see. We're going to hear some more. We're going to hear some more from Rick Reimer and his son Nikhil Rastaman, and then we'll return and continue this conversation. You're listening to the PACE Radio Show here at LifestyleRadio.ca. You're listening to the PACE Radio.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is not much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiva grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
I'm feeling really good and very strong and very happy that I am now almost free of seizures and for 48 days. So I feel so much stronger and better and much more better than I ever felt before in my whole entire life. This is like the best day ever. This is like a dream come true.
Tune in to the 420 radio show. Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. With Marcel, Lori, and Al. Along with their guests. Tunes. 420 seconds of news with Chris Backer. And weekly grow tips from Ross Middleton of BMA Hydroponics. Pull up your couch. Grab a coffee. Light up and join us right here on lifestyleradio.ca.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Well, the folks in the hills liked having Bob around. He grew the finest ganja from here to Willow Town. He lived in the woods, didn't do no one no harm. The buds on his plants grew as thick as your arm.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
The following is a public service announcement from the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society. The Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society is a non-profit organization dedicated to ensuring improved access to therapeutic cannabis and cannabis byproducts in Canada. With a federal government that has committed to legalizing cannabis, we feel it is our duty to ensure that the medicinal use of cannabis doesn't get lost in the process and that there are clear distinctions made between the medicinal and recreational use of cannabis. It is our mission to ensure that government regulation doesn't get in the way of a sick, disabled, or terminally ill person's right to use or produce this amazing natural health product. If you would like to get involved, you can contact us on the internet. www.canadiantherapeuticCannabisPartners.com, on Facebook, CTCP Society, or search Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners.
This is Al Graham of the PACE Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the PACE Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on lifestyleradio.ca.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMPR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it.
About life and kill a lose. there's way too much police with not enough to do. When Rastaman go ganja, it just takes a little time till Johnny Law comes to the scene of the crime. Felony, that is. Helicopters, taser gun.
There you go, helicopters. Look out, boys. She's coming in. Well, thanks for tuning in to the PACE Radio Show, everybody. As always, we're live here at Lifestyle Radio, and we're live at Spreaker as well. And we're also live at TuneIn Radio, too. Tonight's bumper music, Rick Reimer. He's a man who I've mentioned before. He's fought impaired up by drugs, driving charge, which he beat. He's a patient and a lawyer. He has a medical condition, and obviously the judge sided with him. So that was good to know. Unfortunately, it wasn't one of those cases where you could use it in a set of precedent law, unfortunately. And that was his son, the Killaloe Rastaman. And from my understanding, Killaloe is a very interesting place. Also, before the break, I should mention Ross and Deb, you guys were talking about Haley Rose earlier. That was Haley Rose that you got to hear going into our commercial breaks. There's a possibility that Haley and her mom Cheryl could be guests this Friday on the 420 radio show. So if you'd like to hear more from Haley, then by all means tune in Friday 7 p.m. and hopefully Haley and her mom are there, and you'll be able to hear from her yourself. So tonight on the show we have Ross and Deb Middleton, the sponsors here at PACE Radio Show. They are the owners of BMA Hydroponics, and it's been great talking with them. Deb talked to her in the first segment about BMA Hydroponics. Second segment, we talked to Ross about the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners and what they're doing, including a new signing clinic that they're setting up at BMA Hydroponics for patients who are looking to grow. Ross, just quickly before we bring Deb in, you also got something else to go on the CTCP file.
We do. We are currently organizing with some other partners, business partners, and looking at putting in basically a mini co-op in a small town just north of Belleville. It will be a CTCP Society approved co-op, basically, which will house designated growers. This company is looking at buying a multi-unit commercial building with 6 units in it, and of course each unit has an individual address, which is required by the ACMPR in order to have a grow site. And you're allowed to have up to 4 licenses per address. So basically, 4 times 6 is, what is 4 times?
24.
It's 8. Yeah. So 24, we can have up to 24 licenses in that commercial building, and with I believe 12 designated growers, depending on the size of the licenses that are housed there. So we only have one more hurdle. We've met with the condo corporation. We've met with the insurance people. We even met with the chief of police, who is all for it. Thinks that it's a great idea. They actually published an article in the local Quinte News that said that the dispensary was a no-go, but the co-op was completely legal, which was really nice to see in writing. We have one more hurdle to go, and that's with this city. We have to put on a presentation for the Public Safety Committee for the municipality. And I'm thinking it's just so that they know that there won't be any gunplay, and kidnappings and, or explosions, So we're going to go through that last hurdle. Hopefully everything goes well there, and then it's all, full speed ahead. Yeah. So we want to get them on board. Obviously, we want to be good citizens, and we want to make sure that everybody's concerns are addressed.
Yeah, sounds good. That's fantastic news. I know there's been so many people who've been working towards stuff like that, but nothing's never happened. So this is great news. CTCP, signing clinic and co-op. Fantastic. Some people call that fossil. combination of two words.
Are we allowed to swear, Al? Or do you swear?
That's just awesome. Oh, I don't get very many unless it's language stickers on my show.
You don't? Oh, so I can't swear? I wanted to separate the words.
Okay, let's see. Not only is CTCP growing, but also Deb, I was talking to you about the BMA hydro and stuff. You guys are also growing as well.
We are.
Yeah.
Well,
yes,
more than just plants. More than just plants, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So, Deb, did you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on there?
Well, what we're doing.
And Ross, you jump in. Just don't take
Sure.
it.
Yeah, we're starting a new part. You may have noticed on our website if you go there. We put it up there, and it's called Consumption Junction. So we've had a small number of accessories for patients to allow them to choose a different method of inhaling rather than just smoking. There's vaporizers, but now we're going to expand that line into some of the higher end vaporizers, the Solo Aeris Air, the Airizer. There's the ones that are the medium price, like the Viva No Kivas, and then there will be all of the other extract type of equipment that you may want, whether it is to smoke with or actually to help make your own. We carry that type of equipment. We carry pollinators, so that if what you decide you would like to do is make your own sift hash, and then make your own moon rocks, you can do some pollinating, use your extractor to make your oil, and then you can roll it in your keef. So, and make your own moon rocks. There's also, we offer rosin presses, along with all of the bubble bags, that thing we've always carried. But there is just a larger selection now of items that we're going to be able to carry that will help people, produce their own medicine other than just smoking it. So there are the magic butter machines, which help people to make edibles, even make your topicals with them.
Just so you know, mine's downstairs right now, full of almond butter.
Almond butter? Yeah. I know there's excellent things you can do with them. And we're looking at contacting the people for the green oil machines, too.
Are you?
Yeah, to see if we can't, have some here, and see if they're willing to work with us a little bit. Previously, it's only been online-only individuals, but we're contacting them as well to see if there isn't something that we may be able to do to bring that machine to more people, because it's an amazing machine, as you know, and with Health Canada coming out and specifically naming certain organic solvents that they don't want to see used by patients, this uses 95% food grade alcohol. So it's something that can be reclaimed, used over and over, so it makes it cost effective. And with that, you can produce your own oil, and you can even further process it into extract.
Like a shatter or something along that line. Maybe not called, be shatter, but still something that could be used as with an e-nail or a vape
That's
pen.
right, like a pull and snap type of product. That's right.
Correct.
Yeah, and from that you could even take it down further from that, using extraction chambers to make it into a shatter type material.
Oh, okay. So you could put it in a vacuum chamber.
Yes.
Vacuum, with a heat pad and a vacuum chamber, and you can bring it right down to shatter. And it's got a really nice amber color to it too.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not dealing with, like, I know with the butane, you got closed loop systems and stuff like that, but you still got to deal with the fumes. And like, I've seen this green oil machine, watch some of the stuff, and it's made so that you can use it right inside. It's done with the alcohol. Now, as far as getting that food grade alcohol, here in Ontario, it's not as if you can just walk into an LCBO and pick it up.
No, it's not. But if you happen to talk with your doctor, and you express to them, especially if your doctor happens to be knowledgeable or at least friendly towards cannabis, even if they don't want to prescribe it to you, a lot of them would prefer to see their patients use a method of extraction that is 100% safe and that is legal. So if by getting your doctor to sign a letter saying he would like you to be able to purchase up to 95% food grade alcohol, then you can actually send this letter to the LCBO and they will issue a letter with a code number on it that will allow you to purchase 95% alcohol in this province.
Good. So. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, extractions, fed with that, pollinators, presses, magic butter machine. There's yet another vital, important piece of equipment for a patient. Do people have? Would you look at them as being the same machine, or it's completely two different machines?
They're actually two different types of machines.
Yeah.
The green oil machine is strictly used for taking a tincture, and then putting it down into extracting all of the alcohol out of it, reclaiming it, and leaving you with a FICO or an oil. The longer you allow your tincture to sit will determine a lot of times what color it is. Right now, a lot of patients will make alcohol tinctures, and you can do it through the magic butter machine, but you'll find that you get an extremely green product.
Yeah, because I could see that. Soak time. In the amount of time it's in there,
That's right. So, and other than that, the other method was to put it in a jar in your pantry and keep shaking it for 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, and you would get that lovely amber reddish color to your tincture from that, where it wouldn't extract all of the chlorophyll as well. And that generally that would be when you would be using 40% or 45% alcohol, that it would take that long to extract it. With this machine, by doing what we call a quick wash or a fast wash tincture, that's maybe 3 to 4 minutes that you let your plant material sit in the alcohol before you filter it and then put it in your machine. And the green oil machine will hold up to 1 gallon of tincture at a time. Yes. And
that's a lot of medicine.
That's a lot of tincture.
It is. Good medicine.
Yeah, it is. And when after you've reclaimed the alcohol, and you have your lovely oil with it, when you go to clean your machine, you can either put more of your food grade alcohol in there, swirl it around, clean the machine, keep that in the jar for the next time when you're going to run it through. Or a lot of people will throw in a teaspoon or tablespoon of olive oil or coconut oil and run that around, use a little syringe and fill up capsules. So they have capsules as well to take.
No waste. Use it all.
No, that's right. Everything you reclaim, probably about 90 to 95% of your alcohol. And if you can't, with this machine, if you cannot obtain 95%, you can take lesser proofs alcohol, say 45 percent, and you can run it through the machine to increase the alcohol content and pull the water out of it.
Nice.
So that you can make your own stronger alcohol.
There you go. So if you can only get access to 40 proof, you can probably run it through the machine a few times and get it closer to that 95.
Yes, you can. You can run it. It would take a while, and you would lose a little more because what it's pulling out is the water.
Correct.
You you can get it up to around between 90 and 94%.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Fantastic, nice little machine. Okay, we've got about 5 or 6 minutes left here, and basically what I'm wondering about here is you guys obviously, you and Ross, you're talking with a lot of people. I'm just wondering what kind of feedback the two of you guys are getting on the task force recommendations.
From people we talk to.
I got to tell you that
that's my crickets.
You know what? It's really just the advocates that really know a lot, the activists and the advocates that really know a lot about it. A lot of people who come in are just sick people looking to get some help, getting some medicine, and they really don't have their ears open, and they're not really listening to the jungle telegraph like some of us are, the people who are more immersed in it. We know about the task force. We made submissions. We know what the task force came back with. But we probably spend more time enlightening people as to what was in that report as opposed to actually hearing opinions about it, because most people we find just aren't aware of what's going on. And so we're helping to get the word out there as far as legalization too. Like I said, we do support full legalization and recreational use. Nobody should go to jail for cannabis ever again.
No,
and it is surprising how many people don't realize that the government has come back with another program to allow people to grow their own medicines.
People are still learning about the ACMPR.
Yes, that's right. A lot of people thought, oh no, that's illegal, or I will hear things about, we're grandfathered, we never have to renew again or ever see a doctor again, and we'll just let them know it's in their best interest to still see a doctor and just have them even sign the back of their MMPR license to say that they're still under the care of a physician and that a physician is still recommending, that they use cannabis.
There's something else too I'd like to just mention that a lot of people don't know about the new program. The ACMPR is a standalone program where you can apply to grow. If you're covered under the old MMPR injunction, your application to the ACMPR does not affect your injunction status at all. So just because you apply under the ACMPR does not mean you're no longer covered by the injunction. You are. So you can actually take on 2 designated growers under the ACMPR and still maintain your injunction status under the MMPR and do all of the above.
So a patient could just go in for an increase.
Yes. Well,
not lose their status under the MMPR.
Right, like Health Canada and the government in general has nothing to do with the old MMPR. They have nothing to do with the injunction. They're not even allowed to talk to Judge Phelan. Okay, so they can't administer it. They can't go to him and say, please lift the injunction. And he's not. I don't know if he ever will. He probably will, I guess, one day. But there's a chance he won't. There's a chance he'll never lift it.
Yeah, well, we know. Well, when they announced the ACMPR, they also mentioned about it being. I think they used the word temporary.
Yes.
Yeah, but what they meant by temporary was what came out in the task force recommendations, that they suggested that the medical and recreational programs be kept separate.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And basically that's what they meant by temporary, was that until it could be rolled into the legalization legislation and presented as one bill to be passed by Parliament, but it's still going to be 2 separate systems. You're still going to have.
Well, that's what they're recommending.
Yeah, and I don't see how they can get around it, because it has been found to be a Section 7 charter violation, and that doesn't change just because you legalized it. Right?
No, and that could even be what Judge Phelan is waiting for. He may be waiting to see what the legislation actually comes out as for legalization and what they've done to the medical with it before he even makes a decision on the MMPR.
I would say that's at least it. Yep.
Yeah, I don't see them being too. And I'm sure Health Canada is not too much of a rush to all of a sudden get swamped with all these new, new applications.
They're already swamped.
They're swamped. Yeah, they're swamped now.
Yeah, like I know people have been waiting since October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last I heard, it was 8 weeks, and then I've heard just recently they're getting up to 10 now, 10 weeks to process, which is crazy. But I don't know how much they're focusing on bringing in the manpower they need to process these applications. And
obviously, obviously they need to do that.
Yeah, I think that they're a little overwhelmed. I knew they thought that they would get, quite a good response, but I don't think that they anticipated it would be quite this good this soon.
Yeah. Well, hey, that means the advocates have done a pretty good job, haven't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it does.
And we'll continue to do so, too.
High fives all around. High fives, everybody.
High fives.
That's right.
Okay, you two. We're at the end of the show here. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to do a shout out to a person, place, a thing, a website, whatever you'd like to highlight. If you got one or three or whatever.
Well, if you want to know more about Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society, you can check us out online at Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society.com or on our Facebook page. And if you type in Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society, you will see a little more about us and what we do. And also, you can always come by and check out the awesome BMAHydroponics.com website to see some of the wonderful work Ross has done on there and some of the features, services, and things that we're going to be offering.
Super good. Ross, you got something?
Yeah, basically, I've been building websites. All I can say is that we are now in a place where we've never been before. We are getting people hooked up with doctors. We're getting people through the process of Health Canada. We're getting people all the grow advice that they need. We're getting people all of the equipment that they need. We're getting them all of the strains that they need. We're getting them all of the extraction processes that they need. We are now really starting to feel like we can present ourselves as being your one-stop shop for everything medicinal cannabis. And if you're growing recreationally, we're with you. Come on in. We can help you do that too. You're from seed to consumption. All the way from doctor to seed to consumption to extraction to medicine to everything. You just name it. If it's got something to do with cannabis, especially medicinal cannabis, we've got everything you need. Super.
That's right. And if you have a sick house plant, I can help you with that too.
That's right. We still gotta look after the orchids, right?
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, just a reminder that I'll be back next Wednesday. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Al.
Yes. Take care.
I'm not. Yeah. Okay. So I'll be back next Wednesday. Kim Cooper will be my joint host. I know Kim's a little under the weather right now, so here's hoping for a speedy recovery and that she gets well soon and she'll be able to be on the show next week.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, she's going through a bit of
Get better, Kim.
Yeah. Get better, Kim. Yep.
Yes. Just a reminder that you know that PACE Radio Show is on Facebook. You can like us there. We're at on Twitter at PACE Radio. We're online at pace-online.ca. And don't forget to go there and send us a message letting us know that you want some free stuff. And we'll send you, like I said, a DVD. There's one DVD and it's a package, one package, but there's 6 DVDs in it. I just showed you 6 hours of coverage of the Treating Yourself Expo. It's just fantastic. So let's get your name in for that. Thank yous go to our sponsors. As you met tonight, our friendly folks at BMA Hydroponics. And they're located in Belleville, Ontario. As Deb mentioned, the website is bmahydroponics.com. Also, a thank you to our other sponsors, CC Nexus, Canada's cannabis seed wholesaler. They're found at ccnexus.global. Al Rapp, our producer of Lifestyle Radio, the man behind the baggie, as we like to say. And a big thank you to our guests, Deb and Ross. It's always great to talk to them. I know that whenever I stop in the store, I think I'm going to have to bring a stool in just so I can sit down and
now you can come in and sit in the office and
come sit in the office.
Yes,
that's right.
The new office.
Yes, and as you know, they're the owners of BMA Hydroponics, doing all this great stuff for the patients. And a big thank you to you guys, our listeners. Without the listeners, I say this stuff after every show because it's true. I always appreciate everybody who comes in and helps out and is involved in this program. That includes the listeners. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have had it.